Hello dear students, here I am, your history teacher, presenting this educational series to help you out for your upcoming social science board exams. And as I promised, I'm presenting the second chapter of History Class 10. So, in this chapter, we are going to discuss about nationalism in India. So what were the factors responsible? What were the different events coming of Gandhiji back to India will be discussed in this series. So stay tuned and let's begin. So nationalism. So this we have already discussed in the previous chapter also. Again to tell you all what is nationalism. Nationalism is simply love towards your country. It's the loyalty and devotion. Modern nationalism was basically related to formation of nation states, which we have already covered in our chapter number 1. Thereafter, during your 19th century, especially after World War II, there were many countries in Asia and in Africa who fought for their independence. India was one such colony of England, and they too grew idea of nationalism, and this led to the rise of India's freedom struggle. So, the beginning of the chapter, right in the beginning of the chapter, you will find World War I, right? World War I, which was fought between the Central Power and the Allies. So, it was fought between 1914 and 18, right? And let me tell you class, okay? This part is very important. ये बहुत ही important part है. यहाँ से board exams में कई बार 3 marks का question आता है. And the question is in this form: what was the impact of World War I on India? India के ऊपर World War I का क्या impact रहा? Right? So when we talk about the impact, it can be divided into two: the political impact and the economic impact. Okay? So these were the problems which were faced. Okay, and यही जो था यही impact भी था, that because of World War I, what happened in India? So as the war was taking place, so the British government, they required extra finance. Okay, defense expenditure increased. They had to pay to the army. They had to pay for buying new weapons, ammunitions, and various other things for the war. अब डिफेंस एक्सपेंडिचर को सपोर्ट करने के लिए दे हैड टू इंक्रीज द टैक्सेस. तो कई सारे टैक्सेस इंडिया में बढ़े, कस्टम ड्यूटीज बढ़ गई और कई नए टैक्स भी इंडिया में इंट्रोड्यूस हुए. फॉर एग्जांपल इनकम टैक्स. सो इनकम टैक्स दैट वी आर पेइंग टिल डेट, इट इज वन ऑफ द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर वन. प्राइस राइज, ये भी उसका एक नेक्स्ट इम्पैक्ट था. एंड फोर्स रिक्रूटमेंट इन रूरल विलेजेस, रूरल एरियाज. रूरल मीन्स विलेजेस. Forced recruitment means even the people who were not willing to join the army, उनको भी जबरदस्ती आर्मी में ज्वाइन करने के लिए उनको फोर्स किया जा रहा था. So these are the impacts of World War I on India. So we'll continue. Then after the war, okay, during and after the war, during 1918 and 1920 to 1921, between these years there was crop failure in India. Okay, crop failure हुआ. So what is the result? Shortage of food. Then there was an epidemic. Epidemic is a disease which spreads, contagious spread disease. Influenza epidemic, and because of this, so many people they died. So as per the record, census of 1921, nearly 12 to 13 million people died in India because of the famines and epidemic. Hardships did not end even after the war was over, right? So this is a very important part, telling us about what was the impact of World War I on India, right? Political impact and economic impact. Now let us move on to the next one. So you can see that these all were the hardships which Indians were facing during the time of British rule. And in the meantime, we'll find the entry of Mahatma Gandhi. He came back to India. So जब गांधी जी इंडिया आए, he was very much disappointed. He was in grief to see the condition of Indians. Okay, right? Because he saw that how much Indians were suffering. So it was in January 1915, Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa to India, right? So the date is 9th of January 1915. So Gandhi ji returned back, and when he came back, he came with the idea of Satyagraha. Satyagraha is made up of two words, Satya and Agrah. That is the call for truth. तो गांधी जी इंडिया में वापस आ गए हैं एंड नाउ political activities in India will increase by many folds. Right, so what is satyagraha? The definition of satyagraha is very important. Again, you may get 2 marks question from here. सत्याग्रह इज अ नोवेल मेथड, इट्स अ न्यू मेथड, एक नया मेथड था इंडिया में टू फाइट अगेंस्ट द इनजस्टिस ऑफ ब्रिटिशर्स. So it is a non-aggressive, it is peaceful mass agitation against oppression and injustice. Satyagraha means insistence on truth, call for truth, right? It is a moral force and it is active force. It is not passive. In January 1915, Gandhi returned back. Again, we get a very important question that सत्याग्रह इज एक्टिव एंड नॉट पैसिव. व्हाई? तो वो एक्टिव इसलिए है क्योंकि सत्याग्रह फॉलो करने में आपको क्या चाहिए? यू रिक्वायर लॉट ऑफ मेंटल एक्टिविटी. यू नीड टू बी मेंटली वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. ओके, योर विल पावर हैज टू बी वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. In spite of whatever comes, you have to be very patient and you have to bear the violence also, and you have to respond back towards violence with non-violence, right? So this is what satyagraha is all about. Now when Mahatma Gandhi he came back to India, he organized 3 satyagraha movements, that is known as the 3 early experiments of Mahatma Gandhi with satyagraha. So the 3 satyagraha movements are Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad, right? So we'll be studying about all these 3 satyagraha in detail. So the first satyagraha was organized in Champaran. Champaran is a place in Bihar. Please save this slide because it comes for your map work also, right? This particular question comes for the map work as well. 3 marks question you may get, MCQs you may get. First satyagraha is in the year 1917 in Champaran, which is in Bihar. Now what was the reason? The reason was that the farmers here in Bihar, in Champaran, they wanted to grow food crops. They wanted to grow wheat, right, pulses, such type of things, the food crops. But the Britishers were insisting them to grow indigo. Indigo बोला जाता है नील. तो ब्रिटिशर्स फोर्स कर रहे थे इंडियंस को नील की खेती करने के लिए, लेकिन जो फार्मर्स थे वहां के वो फूड क्रॉप जैसे कि गेहूं वो ग्रो करना चाहते थे. नेक्स्ट रीजन वाज दैट कि नील की खेती से जो सॉइल होती है इट बिकम्स वेरी वेरी इनफर्टाइल, राइट? सो फार्मर्स डिड नॉट वांट टू गो फॉर इट, बट दे वर फोर्स्ड. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस Satyagraha, the Champaran Satyagraha was organized and it was a huge success. It became very, very successful. Second Satyagraha was in Kheda district of Gujarat. It was in the year 1918. So again the demand of the farmers here was that क्योंकि आपने पहले पढ़ा था 1918 में क्रॉप फेलियर हो गया था हमारी कंट्री में, शॉर्टेज ऑफ फूड. Farmers were not in the position to pay the taxes, right? So they demanded कि जो taxes है they should be some tax relaxation. उनका टैक्स कम कर दिया जाए, right? So for that satyagraha was organized. Third satyagraha was in the year 1918 and it was in Ahmedabad, which is again in Gujarat. तो यहाँ पे जो सत्याग्रह था it was for cotton mill workers. अभी जो मिल वर्कर्स थे जो फैक्ट्रीज में काम करते थे इनकी डिमांड थी इंक्रीज इन देयर वेजेस. ओके, सो हियर वी हैव स्टडीड 3 अर्ली एक्सपेरिमेंट्स of Gandhi ji with Satyagraha and इसी लाइन पे बेस्ड क्वेश्चन आता है. दिस इज द एग्जैक्ट लाइन टेकन फ्रॉम योर एनसीईआरटी बुक. चंपारण, खेड़ा, अहमदाबाद 1917, 1918 and 1980. This is for indigo planters. This is for the tax remission and this is for increasing the wages. Now we have seen that Indians have become politically very, very active after the arrival of Gandhi ji, right? Now the ultimate objective of Britishers, it was to stop the political activities. Okay, now in order to stop the political activities, a new act came which is known as Rowlatt Act of the year 1919. Now the question comes, why it is known as Rowlatt? Rowlatt इसलिए बोला जाता है इसको because ये एक्ट जिसने डिजाइन किया, his name is Sir Sidney Rowlatt. Okay, I am repeating, Sir Sidney Rowlatt. So this act was started to stop the political activities of Indians, and under it, Britishers they became very, very powerful to stop or to repress political activities. Any political activist can now be imprisoned for 2 years, that too without trial. कोई भी अगर political activity में involved मिलता है तो उसको जेल में डाल दिया जाता था, राइट, एज पॉलिटिकल प्रिजनर्स. कितने टाइम के लिए? 2 सालों के लिए, और उनको कोई ट्रायल भी नहीं मिलती थी. बाय ट्रायल आई मीन दे डिड नॉट गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रूव देमसेल्व्स इनोसेंट. ओके, Now Gandhi ji, what he did, he called Rowlatt Act to be the black law. उन्होंने उसको काला कानून बोला और उन्होंने एक सत्याग्रह स्टार्ट करा, that was known as Rowlatt सत्याग्रह. And 6th April 1919, Gandhi ji called for countrywide hartal. Okay, but the Britishers, they were very very cruel and they clamped down this satyagrah. Okay, and the biggest massacre or the violence which we can see during this time was in Amritsar, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, or we also call it as Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So it was on 10th of April that police in Amritsar fired on a peaceful procession which provoked widespread attacks on government buildings. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से काफी बार आप देखोगे ऐसा होता था कि जो इंडियंस होते थे वो क्या करते थे, they used to attack the symbols, the buildings which symbolize British rule. So all the government buildings like banks, post office, railway station, they were attacked. So same happened here also. Now martial law was imposed. Now what is this martial law? Martial law is when the military takes over. When the military takes over the charge of the administration, that is martial law. And it was headed by Sir General Dyer, right? So he took the command of Punjab and Amritsar. So now what was this Jallianwala Bagh massacre? You may get an important question. It's an important question. Again, this can come in your board exam. It's a direct question. Write a note on Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What was it? What were the reasons? Okay, the entire impact. So the date is 13 April 1919, Baisakhi Day. Like it is celebrated with great pomp and show. It is one of the main festival of Punjab. So everybody, the people, they gathered in this Jallianwala Bagh. Okay, that's in Amritsar. Dyer entered the area, okay, and he blocked the exit points and he opened the fire on the crowd, and hundreds of people, they died. Okay, they were killed. So as the news spread, there were strikes, there were clashes with the police and attacks, and then government was also being very very cruel because they wanted to create fear amongst the people. All right, Gandhi ji called up the Rowlatt Satyagrah as the violence spread. यहाँ से एक MCQ भी आता है कि जनरल डायर ने ऐसा करा क्यों? Why he did it? Why he was so violent with the people? They were innocent people, right? They were children, they were women who were there inside the Jallianwala Bagh. Why he did so? So he answered that he did it so to teach Indians a moral effect. Moral effect के लिए and to create awe and terror. He wanted to terrorize Indians so that nobody could dare to stand against Britishers. Okay, so this is all about your Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Now basically we are moving towards the mass movement launched by Gandhi ji. 3 mass movements have been launched by Gandhi ji: non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement and quit India. तो हम पढ़ रहे हैं वो सारे reasons, वो सारे stages after which non-cooperation movement started. So comes the Khilafat movement. So we know that the result of World War I was that the central power, it was defeated and allies they won. अब जो टर्की था, जहाँ पे मुस्लिम एम्पायर था, जहाँ पे ऑटोमन्स का रूल था, ठीक है, वो हार गया था. और पूरे मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी में अराउंड द वर्ल्ड ये बातें चल रही थी कि नाउ वेरी violent, harsh treaties will be there against Ottoman Empire, and the head of Ottoman Empire is खलीफा. तो खलीफा को बचाने के लिए, उसकी पावर्स को बचाने के लिए, उसकी रिस्पेक्ट को, उसकी डिग्निटी को बचाने के लिए एक मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ जिसको बोला जाता है खिलाफत मूवमेंट. ओके, so in India also this movement was started by Ali brothers, Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, right? Khilafat committee was formed for this. It was formed in Bombay in March 1919, right? So it was done to protect the rights, the dignity of Khalifa. Khalifa is the spiritual and political head of Islamic world. Gandhiji convinced the Congress to join hands with Khilafat and NCM campaign to start for Swaraj. तो फिर फाइनली ये जो दोनों अली ब्रदर्स थे, ये गांधी जी के पास गए. क्यों गए गांधी जी के पास? बिकॉज बाय दिस टाइम गांधी जी हैड बिकम वेरी वेरी पॉपुलर. ओके, एवरीबडी न्यू हु इज महात्मा गांधी. तो गांधी जी के पास ये दोनों गए विद देयर प्रपोजल दैट वी वांट योर सपोर्ट फॉर खिलाफत मूवमेंट, एंड गांधी जी सॉ दिस एज अ गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू यूनाइट हिंदूज एंड मुस्लिम्स, which he always wanted to do. So he gave the proposal to the Congress that let's start a non-cooperation campaign and we'll put Khilafat movement, okay, one of its parameter. So then there was a Congress session which was held in September 1920 in Calcutta. Again, save this slide for the map work. Calcutta में हुआ था कांग्रेस सेशन, सितंबर 1920 में हुआ था, जहां पे गांधी जी ने सिर्फ प्रपोजल दिया. कि मेरा प्रपोजल ये कि that let us launch non-cooperation and khilafat movement. So now let's see what happens. So after this, basically, I'll just come back to it. After your this Calcutta session, there was one more session in December 1920. December 1920 में हुआ था नागपुर में, जहाँ पे फॉर्मली एनसीएम और खिलाफत मूवमेंट को एक्सेप्टेंस मिल गई थी. Okay, now why non-cooperation movement? Now why was it required, right? And how it went on. So why non-cooperation? Why we need it? So the answer we got from the book written by Mahatma Gandhi. The name of the book is Hind Swaraj, which he wrote in the year 1909. Okay, so non-cooperation हमको क्यों launch करना चाहिए? इसलिए करना चाहिए because Mahatma Gandhi said he believed that British Raj is in India because we are cooperating with them. हम अगर ब्रिटिशर्स को कोऑपरेट करना बंद कर देंगे तो उस दिन ब्रिटिश राज विल कोलैप्स. Okay, all right. So this was the reason. He said that we should not cooperate with them anymore, right? Then, as I told you earlier, the session was held in December 1920 in Nagpur, and finally non-cooperation movement with Khilafat was formally adopted by Congress. Next, Gandhiji said was that non-cooperation should unfold in stages. एक करके हमको काम करना है. हम पहले non-cooperation launch करेंगे, ये सारे उसके steps रहेंगे. और अगर फिर भी British government is not ready to listen to us, they are not going to give us स्वराज, अगर फिर भी हमको स्वराज नहीं देते हैं तो हम full-fledged civil disobedience movement launch करेंगे. So this was already said by Gandhiji. तो stages क्या थे? First was सरेंडरिंग ऑफ द टाइटल्स. जो भी टाइटल्स देते थे ब्रिटिशर्स इंडियंस को, वो हम उनको वापस लौटा देंगे. ठीक है, ऑलराइट. बॉयकॉटिंग द सिविल सर्विसेज, आर्मी, पुलिस, कोर्ट्स एंड लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स, स्कूल्स एंड फॉरेन गुड्स. बॉयकॉट ब्रिटिश गुड्स एंड ब्रिटिश सर्विसेज. So this was the main mantra which Gandhiji gave here. Boycott word was given by him, right? As you can see here, boycott. Non-cooperation movement goes with boycotting British goods and services, right? So now non-cooperation Khilafat movement, it began in January 1921. Now we will study about the movement at different places. Okay, see, that time the flow of information, the media, technology was not as we have it today, right? So flow of information was not so fast and even not so accurate. All right, so that's why in towns it took a different form, in villages it took a different form, then in tribal area it took a different form. So what was it all about? So in the towns, right? So in the towns, mainly the middle class participated, and people, they decided to boycott British goods and services. Students, teachers, lawyers, everybody, they gave up their job, all right, and they joined the movement. Elections were also boycotted. Foreign goods were boycotted. Liquor shops were also picketed. So under this, foreign goods were boycotted, and then there were big bonfires. जैसे कि स्वराज मूवमेंट के टाइम पे, स्वदेशी मूवमेंट के टाइम पे हुआ था 1905 पे, जब बंगाल का पार्टीशन किया गया था. ठीक है, बंगाल विभाजन जिसको हम बोलते हैं 1905 पे, उस टाइम पे भी स्वदेशी मूवमेंट लॉन्च हुआ था जिसमें ब्रिटिश गुड्स, फॉरेन गुड्स को जलाया जाता था. सेम हैपेंड हियर आल्सो. लिकर शॉप्स आर पिकेटेड. पिकेटेड का मतलब होता है व्हेन यू ब्लॉक द एंट्री. ओके, व्हेन यू ब्लॉक द एंट्री एंड यू डू नॉट अलाउ समबडी टू बाय और सेल, so that is picketing. So liquor shops were picketed during this time, especially women did it, right? Now let's move on to the next course of the movement. So the movement in the countryside. Countryside means the outskirts. Okay, towns से बाहर. Town से बाहर होते हैं आपका tribal area और villages. So first of all, let's come to the villages. So peasant movement in Awadh, that is in Uttar Pradesh. So here the movement was led by Baba Ramchandra. He was the leader, and the movement was against the landlords and talukdars because the villagers were not directly in contact with Britishers. Okay, यहाँ पे उनका contact था direct landlords और talukdar से. Now why against them? Because these were the people who were troubling the peasants every time for the taxes. Peasant movement demanded reduction of revenue. Demands, please underline it, and you should be knowing demands of the peasants in Awadh during non-cooperation. Reduction of revenue, abolition of begar. Begar is forced labor when you are made to work without any remuneration. आप काम करते रहो लेकिन आपको पेमेंट नहीं मिलेगी. That is begar. And social boycott of oppressive landlords. 1920 में Awadh Kisan Sabha was established. That is Awadh Kisan Sabha also we can say. And this was done by Ramchandra as well as by Jawaharlal Nehru. right? And as the movement it spread in 1921, the house of Palukdas and merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted and grain stocks were taken over. मतलब वो movement जो गांधी जी ने start किया था with the vision of non-violence, it was becoming violent, right? Begar and all it is mentioned here. The demands are very important here. तो यहाँ पे अवध में जो आपके peasants थे, जो लोग थे, उन्होंने बोला they came up with the concept of न्याय धोबी बंद. न्याय धोबी बंद मतलब जो बेसिक सर्विसेज हैं, ओके, द बेसिक सर्विसेज लाइक बार्बर, द बेसिक सर्विसेज ऑफ अ वॉशरमैन, these will not be given to the landlords and talukdars. This was decided. Right, so we are discussing about the launching of non-cooperation movement and what was the meaning of Swaraj for different people. Okay, for middle class people, Swaraj mean that they wanted to participate in the political activities. Alright, whatever the decisions were taken, जो भी रूल्स बन रहे थे इंडिया के लिए, उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करना चाहते थे. विलेजेस में स्वराज का मतलब था किसानों के लिए बिगाड़ सिस्टम टू स्टॉप, टैक्स कम हो जाए, लैंड रेवेन्यू कम हो जाए. ट्राइबल लोगों के लिए स्वराज का मतलब था कि दे शुड गेट अ फ्री एंट्री इनटू द फॉरेस्ट. ओके, जिस तरह से जो उनके कस्टमरी राइट्स थे फॉरेस्ट के, वो उनको मिलने चाहिए. सो इन गिडन हिल्स ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश, अलूरी सीताराम राजू वॉज देयर लीडर. और अवध में जो किसान थे उनका जो लीडर था दैट वाज योर बाबा रामचंद्र. ओके, सो यू मे गेट व्हाट वाज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्वराज फॉर ट्राइबल्स, व्हाट वाज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्वराज फॉर विलेज कम्युनिटीज, देन व्हाट वाज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्वराज फॉर द प्लांटेशन वर्कर्स. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, राइट? सो प्लांटेशन वर्कर्स, स्वराज इन प्लांटेशंस. प्लांटेशन मीन्स लाइक टी प्लांटेशन, कॉफी प्लांटेशन, ओके, जहाँ पे कॉमर्शियल फार्मिंग की जाती है, स्पेशल क्रॉप, एक तरह का कैश क्रॉप ही ग्रो करते हैं वहां पे, right? So the for the plantation workers, Swaraj means moving freely. Okay, तो हुआ क्या था यहाँ पे, जो plantation, here they have taken the example of tea gardens of Assam. In the year 1859, Inland Immigration Act was passed. इस एक्ट के अकॉर्डिंग जो प्लांटेशन वर्कर्स थे, जो अपने गांव छोड़ छोड़ करके इन प्लांटेशंस में काम करने के लिए आए हुए थे, ओके, they were not allowed to go back to their home, they were not allowed to go back to their villages, right? एंड दीज पीपल दे ऑलवेज वॉन्टेड टू गो. वो कब जाना चाहते थे? जब भी एग्रीकल्चर पीक सीजन होता था, या फिर उनके गांव में कोई फेस्टिवल है, कोई गैदरिंग है, शादी है, सो दे ऑलवेज वॉन्टेड टू गो बैक, बट दे वर नॉट अलाउड. एंड दिस रूल बिकेम मोर स्ट्रिक्ट आफ्टर इनलैंड इमिग्रेशन एक्ट. मतलब उनको एज प्रिजनर्स प्लांटेशन के अंदर रख दिया गया था. उनको ये बोला गया था इफ यू वॉन्ट टू गो यू हैव टू टेक द परमिशन, और परमिशन उनको यूरोपियन मास्टर्स कभी देते नहीं थे. So the reason, the meaning of Swaraj for these people was to move in and out freely of the plantations, right? तो उनको जैसे ही पता चला कि स्वराज आया, they felt like कि okay, we'll go back to our villages. और ऐसे rumors भी spread होने लगे कि गांधी जी ने promise करा है कि सब लोगों को गांव में जमीन मिलेगी, so we'll go back, we'll be the masters of our own land, we will work on the land, right, and we'll earn. ठीक है, so that was just a rumor. So many of the plantation workers from the tea gardens of Assam, they left the tea plantations, they headed towards their home, they were going to the bus stops, they were going to railway stations. However, as soon the Britishers came to know, उन्होंने सारे plantation workers को पकड़ा, they were beaten brutally and they were brought back to the plantation, right? So each group interpreted the meaning of Swaraj in their own ways. So I have discussed about the people of the cities and towns, about villages, about the tribal, and about the plantations, right? Now finally in the year 1922, February 1922, the date is 5th of February 1922, non-cooperation movement was suspended by Gandhi ji. Now why it happened? Because of the violence. ठीक है, because the movement violent होता जा रहा था. चौरी चौरा which is near गोरखपुर in उत्तर प्रदेश, वहां पे क्या करा, वहां पे लोगों ने जाकर के एक पुलिस स्टेशन को जला दिया, in which the policemen they died, वो जलकर मर गए. Gandhi ji was made responsible, okay, for this incident, and as a result Gandhi ji was put in the jail and movement was called off. Chauri Chaura 1922, at Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur, a peaceful demonstration in a bazaar turned into a violent clash with the police. Okay, so the demonstration tha, it was basically against price rise in the year 1922. Now let's move towards the civil disobedience movement. So we are now bridging the gap. नॉन कॉर्पोरेशन मूवमेंट और सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट के बीच में क्या चला? अब नॉन कॉर्पोरेशन मूवमेंट तो बंद हो गया है आफ्टर चौरी चौरा. नाउ सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट विल स्टार्ट. सो व्हाट आर द एक्टिविटीज व्हिच आर टेकिंग प्लेस राइट इन द बैकग्राउंड? February 1922, Gandhi ji decided to withdraw NCM because of the violence at Chauri Chaura. Map work Chauri Chaura का आता है. Then there was, there were some differences in the opinion within Congress, right? So within Congress, a new party, Swaraj Party, was formed by these two leaders, Motilal Nehru, the father of Jawaharlal Nehru, and Chittaranjan Das. इन्होंने एक अलग से अपना एक पार्टी बना रहे हैं, स्वराज पार्टी. Young leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they were, demanding more and more mass agitation, and they were asking for full independence. They said कि स्वराज से कुछ नहीं होगा, अब हमको पूर्ण स्वराज चाहिए. That is a full independence or complete independence. Now we'll begin with the factors or the events which were taking place between non-cooperation and civil disobedience movement. Non-cooperation movement has come to an end, right? कैसे end हुआ उसका? After the incident of चौरी चौरा. अब हम पढ़ेंगे कि सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट स्टार्ट होने से जस्ट पहले what was happening in India. So the factors that shaped Indian politics towards your late 1920s. So सबसे पहले आया था ग्रेट इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन इन द ईयर 1929. ये जो ग्रेट इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन था, इट स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड्स बिगेस्ट कैपिटलिस्ट कंट्री अमेरिका. न्यूयॉर्क वॉल स्ट्रीट एक्सचेंज क्राइसिस के बाद ग्रेट इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन स्टार्ट हुआ, because of which the entire world was affected. India was one of them. Agricultural prices collapsed, okay, as the demands for agricultural goods fell and exports declined, क्योंकि great economic depression आ गया. Peasants found it very difficult to sell their harvest and pay the revenue, right? So this was one problem. Second was the coming of Salmon Commission, right? So it was decided that the Salmon Commission, right, एक commission बनाया जाएगा जो इंडिया जाएगा and it will look for the constitutional arrangements. जो भी अमेंडमेंट्स है वो बताएगा, पूरा सिनेरियो देखेगा, जो भी लॉज प्रोटोकॉल्स जो भी बनाने हैं दैट इट विल बी मेकिंग. सो एवरीबडी न्यू कि सैमन कमीशन इंडिया में आने वाला है. नाउ व्हाई सैमन कमीशन, व्हाई इट इज नोन एज सैमन? बिकॉज द हेड ऑफ दिस कमीशन was Sir John Salmon. Okay, so it was constituted by the Tory government. Tory government क्या होती है? Tory government refers to the government which was by the conservatives of England. ठीक है, conservative party की जो government थी. So of Britain, they looked into the demands of nationalists and suggest changes in the constitutional structure of India. ये काम था Salmon Commission का, changes in constitutional structure. Now what was the problem? Okay, as you can see, Salmon go back लिखा हुआ यहाँ पर आ रहा है. तो problem क्या थी? The problem was that इस commission में total थे 7 members, including Sir John Salmon, and there was no Indian. Indians ये expect कर रहे थे कि जब आप इंडिया के constitutional structure के बारे में आप laws बना रहे हो, so you should include Indians also. Indians demand कर रहे हैं स्वराज, पूर्ण स्वराज, right? But there was no Indians, so Indians decided to boycott it. The commission came to India in 1928. It arrived in Bombay. The Congress protested against this commission by greeting the commission with the slogan "Go back Salmon," and the black flags were shown, right? So as you can see here. Then the next was the December 1929. So in December 1929, Congress session was held in Lahore. Map question, okay, please save it. So map question 1929 December में लाहौर में आपका हुआ था Congress session, right? And the president was Jawaharlal Nehru, a young leader, right? And he demanded पूर्ण स्वराज. He said that स्वराज से कुछ नहीं होगा, अब हमको full independence चाहिए, पूर्ण स्वराज चाहिए. और यहीं पे जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने अनाउंस करा था कि हम 26 जनवरी 1930 को इंडिपेंडेंस डे सेलिब्रेट करेंगे. ठीक है, सो 26 जनवरी 1930 was celebrated as Independence Day in our country. The tricolor was hosted, right? So all this was done. Now so these all are the events. All right, these all are the events which took place just before civil disobedience movement, right? So dear students, I have explained the entire chapter to you, not entire chapter, the first half of this chapter in very simple way, right? So I hope all your problems, all your stress, they have burst out just like these bubbles which just you saw. So with this, I thank you all for watching me, okay? So as I always keep on telling, please give your valuable feedback, be in contact with me. I'll try to resolve as many problems as possible, right? और जितना easy होगा उतने easy तरीके से मैं कोशिश करूँगी आप सभी को पढ़ाने की. All this will be very helpful for you for your last minute preparation, रिविजन टाइम कम रहता है, कम टाइम में ज़्यादा पढ़ना is what I am helping you out through these videos. So once again, I thank you all for watching this educational series in order to burst out your stress for the upcoming board exams. So do like, share and subscribe. Waiting for your valuable feedback. I'm your history teacher, Supriya ma'am. See you again soon in the second part of nationalism in India. Best of luck.